If you could sit down with your younger self before retirement, you probably wouldn't talk about money or travel plans. You'd talk about what no one warns you about, the silence afterward. When the routines are gone and no one needs you, at 9 a.m. the days feel empty. That freedom can turn into restlessness fast. Studies show losing structure after 50 can lead to sadness or even decline. The truth is, most people don't miss the job. They miss the purpose. The reason to get up, the little goals, the people. Purpose doesn't end with a paycheck. You still need something that matters. 1. I wish I knew that purpose doesn't. Retire with you. Early retirement sounds like a dream. Freedom from deadlines, office politics, and the daily grind. For many, it feels like the reward after decades of hard work. But once the initial excitement fades, a quieter, unexpected reality often sets in. That open calendar? It can start to feel a little too empty. The days that once had a clear rhythm now stretch out without direction. And slowly, the identity you built around your work, the sense of purpose, achievement, and contribution, starts to fade away. This isn't just boredom. It's something deeper. Many early retirees begin to feel invisible, restless, or emotionally ungrounded. And research backs this up. Studies have found that when people retire, especially earlier than their peers, they're more at risk of depression, loneliness, and cognitive decline. A study in the Journal of Population Aging noted that retirees without a strong sense of purpose were far more likely to suffer from mental and emotional health issues. The impact isn't just in the mind, it shows up in the body too. Doctors point out that without daily routines and motivation, retirees often move less, sleep poorly, and develop unhealthy eating patterns. All of this can speed up the aging process, especially after age 50. The sudden freedom that seems so appealing can become a kind of trap, one where you're no longer sure what to do with yourself. Purpose isn't just a fancy idea. It's fuel. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning and gives shape to the hours ahead. When you're working, that structure is built in. There are tasks, co-workers, goals. But once that ends, the responsibility to create purpose shifts entirely to you. For some, especially those who retire early, that shift feels jarring. The brain, no longer stretched or stimulated, starts to drift. Doctors even warn that this kind of mental idling can speed up memory loss and other age-related conditions. Relationships can also feel the ripple effects. Some retirees become more withdrawn, less engaged, or more irritable. Without purpose, many start depending on spouses or family for emotional support, which can strain those connections. What was supposed to be a time of independence starts to feel like emotional dependency. Many assume hobbies or travel will fill the gap. And while those bring moments of joy, they don't always replace the deep fulfillment that comes from feeling needed or useful. Research from the University of Michigan found that retirees who volunteered, mentored, or worked part-time reported much higher life satisfaction than those who just relied on leisure. That's why some geriatric specialists now recommend building a purpose plan alongside a financial plan. That might include mentoring, starting a passion project, volunteering, or simply learning something new. The goal isn't to stay busy, it's to stay connected to something that truly matters to you, because in the end, purpose doesn't retire when the job does. But it does need to be rediscovered, and doing that early can make the difference between a life that's quiet and one that's truly fulfilling. I wish I knew how fast the money can disappear. Retiring early often feels like the ultimate prize. Freedom from work, time to explore, and a chance to finally live on your own terms. But what many people don't realize until it's too late is how quickly that financial freedom can turn into financial stress. Even with a well-built nest egg, money can disappear faster than expected when it's stretched over 30 or 40 years without new income. It's not always due to poor spending choices. Often, it's a matter of underestimating how long retirement will last and how expensive life becomes along the way. Inflation creeps in slowly, Healthcare surprises pop up, and market dips can shake even the most carefully planned portfolio. Many early retirees regret not planning more realistically. They didn't realize how long 35 years without a paycheck can actually feel, especially when you're still healthy and active for much of that time. Living longer is a blessing, but it changes the entire equation. If you retire at 55 and live into your 90s, you're facing nearly 4 decades of living expenses. That's a longer retirement than most people's entire working life. And while retirement calculators are helpful, they're based on averages, not worst-case scenarios. For someone in good health or with a family history of longevity, those averages can create a false sense of security. Healthcare costs are one of the biggest shocks. Fidelity estimates that a 65-year-old couple today will need over $300,000 for out-of-pocket medical expenses alone. But if you retire before Medicare kicks in at 65, that number can be much higher. Private insurance, long-term care, and prescription drugs add up. A single unexpected illness or accident can derail an entire financial plan. Then there's inflation. Even at just 3% annually, your cost of living can double in about 24 years. That means what seems like enough today might not be enough later, especially if your investments aren't keeping up. Many early retirees shift to very conservative portfolios to avoid risk, but ironically, that approach can backfire. If your money isn't growing faster than inflation, you're quietly losing ground every year. Market volatility adds another layer of unpredictability. A bad market in the first few years of retirement, when you're withdrawing funds instead of contributing, can have permanent effects. This is known as sequence of returns risk, and it's especially dangerous for early retirees. Experts recommend creating financial buffers and diverse income streams to weather downturns, but not everyone thinks that far ahead. Lifestyle inflation is another trap. The early years of retirement often feel like a reward, so spending ramps up: travel, dining, out, home projects, maybe even helping adult children financially. Without a solid budget, it's easy to overspend in the honeymoon phase, only to face hard choices later: downsizing, returning to work, or cutting healthcare corners. The emotional toll of money stress in retirement is real. It's tied to anxiety, poor sleep, and even physical health issues. Many retirees admit their biggest regret wasn't retiring. It was not planning deeply enough for how long and unpredictable retirement can be. Retiring early is still possible, but only if the plan is built for endurance, not just escape. I wish I had planned for health, not just wealth. Early retirement sounds like the gateway to a healthier, more relaxed life. But in reality, leaving work too soon, without a health plan in place, can sometimes lead to the opposite. Many people are surprised to find their physical and mental health begin to slip, not because of retirement itself, but because of the sudden loss of structure. When the routine of waking up, moving around, eating at regular times, and checking in with doctors disappears, it's easy to fall into patterns of inactivity and neglect. What begins as freedom can quietly turn into long periods of sitting, snacking, and skipping care. Work life, for all its stress, naturally includes movement. Walking to meetings, standing during tasks, even commuting, all of it keeps the body in motion. Once that ends, daily activity can plummet. Research from sources like the Lancet Public Health shows a direct link between retirement and reduced physical activity, especially among those who don't create a new fitness routine. And when exercise stops, muscle mass begins to decline. Doctors warn that sarcopenia, the loss of muscle that comes with age, can begin as early as your 50s and speed up quickly with inactivity. This can lead to weaker joints, reduced balance, and greater risk of falls. Food habits also change in retirement. Without a scheduled lunch break or the structure of work hours, many retirees start skipping meals, grazing without thinking, or relying on processed snacks. Over time, these habits can lead to weight gain, high blood pressure, or blood sugar problems. Nutritionists emphasize that after 50, the body processes food differently, and poor eating patterns have more serious consequences. Healthy eating in retirement doesn't happen by accident. It requires intention and consistency. Healthcare also tends to slip in the early retirement years. Many retirees feel fine and delay checkups, or they lose access to employer-sponsored insurance and try to avoid the cost of private care. But skipping preventive care can be risky. Conditions like high cholesterol, prediabetes, or early cancers often show no symptoms at first. If left unchecked, they can grow into long-term health issues. Health experts strongly recommend routine screenings, annual blood work, and wellness visits, even if you feel fine. Mental health matters just as much. Without the social contact, goals, and mental stimulation that work provides, many retirees report feeling lonely, bored, or emotionally flat. Psychologists have found that retirees who don't stay mentally and socially active are more prone to anxiety, depression, and even early cognitive decline. Social isolation and lack of purpose can quietly chip away at emotional resilience. 4. I wish I'd talked more honestly with my spouse about retirement. Many couples enter early retirement with unspoken expectations, only to be surprised by how differently each person imagines this next phase of life. One partner might picture travel and spontaneity, while the other craves peace, home routines, or time with grandchildren. Without honest conversations, these mismatches can lead to daily frustrations, creating emotional distance, conflict, or resentment over time. Therapists often hear retired couples express regret, saying, "We never really talked about what this would look like." Early retirement changes more than just a schedule. It alters identity, routines, finances, and relationship dynamics. When people stop working, they lose the structure that once provided space from one another. For many couples, this sudden increase in togetherness can feel overwhelming. What was once a few peaceful hours in the evening becomes full days without clear roles, purpose, or boundaries. Some marriage counselors believe early retirement has contributed to the rising rate of gray divorce, a term for couples separating after age 50, not due to dramatic conflict, but unmet expectations that were never discussed. Small disagreements, if left unspoken, can grow. One partner may feel burdened by chores while the other relaxes, believing they've earned the break. One may want to spend savings on hobbies or adventures, while the other fears running out of money. Without open discussion, even well-meaning actions can feel like betrayals. Psychologists emphasize that unmet expectations aren't the problem. It's when those expectations stay hidden. Honest communication early and often protects relationships from drifting apart. Retirement changes the rhythm of life. Daily habits are renegotiated. Decisions are shared more closely, and personal space can shrink. Some couples discover they enjoy different sleep schedules, eating routines, or social needs. These differences aren't deal breakers, but when not discussed, they can cause tension. One person may feel guilty for needing solitude, while the other feels rejected. One may want to volunteer or start a project, while the other seeks quiet companionship. Marriage experts note these differences are common and manageable if both partners feel safe discussing them. Finances are another critical area often left unspoken. Even if both agree on the big picture, disagreements over day-to-day spending can cause stress. Retirement changes how couples use money on home improvements, family gifts, travel, or healthcare. Without shared planning, one partner may feel like the spender, while the other feels like the saver, leading to resentment or shame. Financial planners encourage couples to set regular, low-pressure conversations about money, not just before retirement, but throughout their life together. Emotional expectations can be even harder to name. Some assume retirement will bring closeness, romance, or new shared adventures, while others focus on rest, reflection, or personal goals. If these hopes are not voiced, both partners may feel disappointed. Relationship counselors remind couples that emotional intimacy isn't just about time together, but about understanding each other's needs and asking difficult questions. What do you need from me in this next chapter? How do you want to spend your days? What fears are you carrying that we haven't talked about? Communication in retirement isn't only about solving problems, it's about preserving connection. Couples who talk openly and regularly are more likely to feel like teammates, not opponents. Studies show that those who discuss both practical and emotional retirement expectations report greater relationship satisfaction. Retirement reshapes daily life for both partners. The earlier and more often a couple talks about their vision, worries, and needs, the stronger their bond will be in the years to come. I wish I knew that retiring early isn't escaping. It's entering a new chapter. Retiring early is often seen as an escape, a break from long hours, tight deadlines, demanding bosses and stress. It's the fantasy of freedom, waking up when you choose, doing what you like, and finally breathing. But what many people over 50 don't realize is that early retirement isn't a finish line, but a new phase of life. Without a clear plan, it can feel aimless. Mental health experts often point out that early retirement can lead to a sense of emptiness, especially if it's an escape from something rather than a step toward something new. While the mind may crave rest, the spirit craves purpose. Losing daily structure and goals can cause restlessness, anxiety, or depression. Time starts to feel like something to fill rather than enjoy. There's also a psychological risk in viewing retirement as a reward for burnout. Leaving a job doesn't automatically heal exhaustion. Chronic stress leaves deep marks on the nervous system, and without recovery tools, the same emotional fatigue follows into retirement. Doctors warn that if burnout isn't addressed, it can lead to isolation, poor sleep, irritability, or even cognitive decline. Quitting the job doesn't heal the mind. Socially, many retirees don't realize how much their job defined their interactions. Co-workers, routines, and casual chats all vanish. Some retirees find the days grow unexpectedly quiet. The phone rings less, invitations slow down, the sense of belonging fades. It's disorienting. Suddenly you're watching life move forward without participating. This is why many financial planners now emphasize not just financial readiness, but psychological readiness for retirement. A savings account is essential, but so is a plan for meaning, activity, and identity. What will the next chapter look like? What will energize you? What goals will keep you focused? These aren't small questions. They are crucial for a fulfilling retirement.